Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for tuning back in with me. Today, I'm going over Fortnite to the Apocalypse chapter 243, rather just maybe a reaction kind of video than me going over it in detail and highlighting what I think the effects of the plot are and what changes, where do we go from here, and all that good stuff. Just because as I started to go through and make the script for an actual review, I just felt like I had a lot more reactions I want to get off my chest, and I didn't really want to include any of that in the actual breakdown itself. I wanted to do a separate video then, if that'd be the case, if you could say that. But maybe like a shorter one, like a 5, 6 minute video, whatever this one ends up being. Just me going through informally and just, going off what I see and reacting. Because right off the bat, we get the chapter cover and it's an adult Percival. And my first thought is like, what the heck? Because he can't be any older than 25. So how does he look that different from him being a 18-year-old and where he's at right now? But before I go any further with that, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who's tuned in or left a like or left a comment on my last couple videos. That really helps push my videos out there to more people. And if you do enjoy seeing content like this, I'm bringing it to the table. I know there are other people out there. I've got many other peers who do what I do that have been doing it for a while and it's better. But I promise you, I'm bringing my own flavor into the space now. And if that's something that you want to see, please, please, please like and subscribe. But with that preface and out of the way, let me get into it. So, as I mentioned, the chapter cover, it's Percival holding his two kids, Cardi's and Lohengrin, and he's just really jacked, like really buff, but he's got like a full blown beard. And as I said, he couldn't be any older than 25 years old. I mean, where we're at right now, he confirmed that Nazians and An are indeed pregnant. And his kids look like they're toddlers, maybe at most 5 years old. So I say that, maybe 25, the very oldest, but it's probably 23 years old at the very oldest. So just seeing him age up like that so quickly is something else, and he's not the only one. He is not the only one. Moving on, we got the Tristan and Issei fight, and that goes the way we thought it'd go with Tristan being the victor, but it's what Issei says here that I find so interesting. Like, you only showed that to me once, and I think that that's such a good sign that Tristan's going to be a good father, that he doesn't want to show this negative energy or something that a lot of people do not like. They associate it with hate, the hate that it's caused, a circle of hatred that's gone on in Britannia for the previous, 3,000 plus years. And he only showed it to Issei once when Issei kept begging and begging and begging. And I feel like at that point, Tristan probably realized, like, all right, at some point, he either has this darkness within him or he doesn't. And if he does have it, it's probably good that I show him the ways first. I don't have any way of knowing, we don't have any way of knowing if that was the case with Meliodas. We could only assume that Meliodas isn't really the type to go out and flex that demon ability. That isn't his style. So I imagine it was probably the same way. But just seeing that Tristan, takes up his father's beliefs is just a good thing to see. And I really do think that Tristan's going to be a much better father than Meliodas was to him. And especially his dialogue in these past couple chapters, and finding himself after losing his memory, or rather his memory being suppressed by the other Isolde, which is technically Escanor, or Gawain's cousin. Anywho, he's really been finding himself here, and he's really set a group of principles to himself. And ever since getting engaged to, our Isolde, he's been a character that I've been very interested in. I really do want to see more of him. moving right along, with the Gawain and her daughter fight. I keep forgetting her name. I can only remember so many of these weird names to say. Um, but of course, in a more formal video, I'll have them provided, obviously. Their fight goes over with Gawain getting the tactical advantage, and I think that she has an experience, and it was more of like a mental, like, I know I can straight up overpower you, but right now I don't know all of your abilities, so why don't I think this one through? And this was probably one of Gawain's better fights. She's actually, I would rank this as probably her second best fight after the one with Balin. Obviously, that one took them both to their wits' ends, but here she soundly outmaneuvers and outsmarts her own daughter. She doesn't know it's her own daughter, so she doesn't know those moves yet. But here there's even a little bit of dialogue where, Gawain acknowledges, like, oh, you must have a good mother if you're handing out all these compliments to your own mother and you're bringing up that she made all of these things out of love to protect you. But it's my duty as the knight of famine to defeat you. And so that she does. She does. But we do get this full panel here. I'll put this on the screen. There's a full panel here where Gawain is just older, and it's kind of the same thing where Merlin uses her own magic force to kind of give herself a more mature body. I think Gawain is I think she's subconsciously doing this to herself. She's wanting to step more into a mother role, especially after finding out who her parents actually are. I believe that there's a part of her, contrary to what she's about to say, there's a part of her that wants to be a mother, that wants to give back everything that has, been instilled in her as a child herself, and that's not uncommon to say. That's something that I personally can relate to, and I know plenty of other people can relate to that. When you have a parent who's done things that you appreciate, and it's just one of those things where you wish to pass that torch down, even if that isn't your own child. Maybe it's an adopted child, maybe it's a niece or a nephew, or just simply the younger generation, someone you work with, or what have you. So I think that's very wholesome of Gawain, and I think her appearance actually shows that there. However, when I think about Gawain, I think that she probably is getting the short stick along with Lancelot here, because the fact of the matter is, if Merlin's never ending like gluttony was to truly come to like a close, she'd just be focused on raising her own daughter. It's that emotional void that keeps Merlin active in this whole like chaos. I'm going to use it to create a new world. Well, she already used it to create a whole ass human being, excuse my language, a whole human being to raise, to take care of, to nurture. Is that not that didn't fill the emotional void? So you did that just out of what? Respect to Escanor? And then to, have Escanor's soul stuck inside that golem and raising that daughter alongside you, but not, what was the end game? What was the point there? And I still think the end game for Merlin is still trying to control chaos, and I think that she somehow messes up the world so much, so badly, that truly the Knights of the Apocalypse have to go back in time. Because we get a point here in all this dialogue when they all start realizing what the hell is going on here. It's actually Cardi's Nazian's son, Nazian and Percival's son, who is about every single time, much like me, every time that he's about to say something important, it's something cuts him off. It's like me with this train of thought right now. He's getting cut off by the chatter around him, but he's about to say something important. And I know that's done purposely, but like we're so close. We are so close to finding out what it actually is that sent them back in time, or what they were doing that caused them to be here in the first place. And the last couple of things I'll say about this chapter that strikes me as surprising is Lancelot dead? Is Lancelot dead? Is he might be on fraud watch. He might be on fraud watch. He lost to Galahad. Albeit Galahad pull out some move called Dark Penetrate, and it seemed like a cheap shot, but Issei says like, "Hey, Galahad, quit it. You know that you can never beat Lancelot. He'll do more than just hurt you. You know that. What does that mean? Lancelot, are you what does that say about you as a father? That is very concerning. Everything about Lancelot up to this point is has been concerning. Like after the time skip, post time skip Lancelot is just so concerning. I feel for the kid, I really do. However, there are some things that he could do, that he could tap into, some people he could talk to seek guidance, because right now he's carrying around literally the weight of the world on his lonesome, and he's not letting anybody know about these things. The only person who does know is the person who has the ability to see the future, which is why she would know. But anyways, that brings me to the end of my reactions for this chapter 243. My plan is to sometime before this week ends is get out like an official breakdown, what have you, about the chapter and really go into more depth, because I don't think there was any way I could just go through this chapter and just talk about how things happened in chronological order, just because I think it was more of a chapter that was meant to supplement these ideas, these plot devices that they already had going, and now they're starting to add more ingredients to this whole thing now. So we'll see. We'll honestly see. But like I said, that's going to bring me to the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Me talking like this does bring me, to a point where I'm like, okay, like I need to put all this excitement into actually getting something that's really constructive out there, so that y'all understand what is actually like what all of this means. And I want to do this for me too. I do this so that I can understand. But please, at any point, any criticism, any engagement with it, it's like, please let me know. I at this point, I do not care if it's, something that you don't like about it or something you don't understand about it. Like, let's talk about it. Take care, guys. Later.